What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 620. I am your host, Steve V, alongside Lincoln. How you doing, Lincoln?
I'm great. Good to be back on. Nice to see you guys.
Absolutely. Welcome on this Thanksgiving week. Also joining us on camera today is Kodi.
Hello.
Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
I'm doing wonderful, darling. Hello, darlings. It's so lovely to see your faces.
Yes.
It's been so long.
I know, right?
We got a lot to get into, but before we get into, I just want to make an announcement that over on our Patreon page, we have a brand new bonus episode out. That's right, more tags for you. It just dropped this morning, and while we won't be live for Tags Live this Wednesday due to the American holiday Thanksgiving, you can get the bonus episode. And tomorrow, more bonus content. We're launching the 50 and Fabulous Tips and Tricks to Staying Youthful. It's my new series that I drop a new video every week on all my tips on staying youthful. You don't want to miss it. And right now, we have a Black Friday special that's going all the way through December 13th, where you get 50% off our Patreon. So go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast and take advantage of this. Lots more deals coming your way. Patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. And let's get into some hot topics, starting with R&B singer that's been around forever, Khalid, just came out. And Khalid's been around for years. I'm sure you know him, Kodi, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. His voice is so sensual and delicious.
Yeah, he said, "I'm gay and that's okay." After he was outed, the hitmaker announced on X last Friday that there you all go. Next topic, please. Khalid's tweet came after another singer seemingly outed him on social media, and fans were quick to reply. This is when Khalid clarified, when somebody said, "Hope Mr. Khalid isn't gay." And then Khalid said, "I am, and that's okay." And he posted it explaining, "I got outed and the world still continues to turn. Let's get this straight. I am not ashamed of my sexuality. In reality, it ain't nobody's business, but I am okay with me. I love you." And it appears that he was referencing to now deleted posts that people actually were clocking him about being gay after all these years. I guess it just never was an important thing to him to come out. Some people weren't surprised by it, but I think, nowadays, Lincoln, we see so many out actors, out singers. It doesn't seem to be a big deal anymore. But I do think in the Black community, in the R&B hip hop, it can be for audiences. What do you think about Khalid being outed, and what do you think about his response?
Well, I think it is a big deal because it defines you. It puts a label on you. And that label for a lot of people means great things, and for other people means really bad things. So if you don't want to share that private thing with you, I don't have a problem with it. So he didn't really come out. He was outed and then he replied, right? Yes. So I think he replied well to what happened. I love all this let's move on, when so many gay people lost their lives trying to come out. And now we're able to say, let's just move on. Like it's something that's really small. I think coming out is very personal. I think it depends on a million things in a person's life. And no one should be forced out of the closet or have it affect their work or anything else unless they wanted to, right? So yeah. I guess that's my take on it.
I think it's no big deal because he didn't get to choose the time and the way that he wanted to. Somebody forced him to. And I can relate a little bit to it. I am by no means on Khalid's level of, and at the time I remember being outed at a radio station that I worked with, and somebody my first person I ever went on a date with outed me to the entire radio station. I told the story before, but our sales department threatened to get me fired from the radio station, and then called my dad and said that I was sleeping with everybody at the UC Berkeley campus. So slut shamed me in front of my dad too. And I denied it, of course, because then he told my father told my sister, and then it trickled down back to me, and she denied it. I denied it. And so when you come out and it's not your choice, you're very defensive at first. And
Well, let me just ask you, when was that?
this was in the 1990, and I was,
So that is so dramatic. And first of all, I'm sorry that happened to you because that's horrible.
yeah,
But that's so dramatic because it's in your circle of work, your family, and everyone that you know. In
yeah,
this day and age, it's everyone that you know and everyone that you don't know. So if you're an artist, someone with a broad reach like this artist, all the people who just hate gay people can jump on the bandwagon and don't even know that person. So I do think it is a really big deal.
yeah, yeah.
And
You
again, I'm
know,
sorry that happened to you. That's horrible.
thank
Yeah,
yes,
it is.
no. Still dealing with it. Apparently, the trauma. No, I'm
Aw,
kidding. I'm good now.
sorry.
No, I'll tell you
Oh
a
my
story later. I'm going
goodness.
to tell you a story later at the end of the show that'll round it out and where I'm at today. That'll make things a lot. You won't feel so
Okay.
bad for me, but thank you. But Kodi, I got to ask you, as a singer, as somebody that's releasing new music yourself, that is out now in today's day and age. What do you think about Khalid? And you're going to be addressing this in your music? Yes, I mean you're on a gay podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, at first, but back in the day, back in my day, when I was first thinking that I was going to go in this direction to become a musician, that was something that was always on my mind, that I had to be careful not to let anybody know I was gay. Again, it was the 90s. There weren't that many out singers, performers at that time. So, but now times have changed, and I finally got the confidence to be out and proud because of so many people that have come out and shared their story, and that they are there to pave the way. So I'm fine with it right now. Back in the 90s, I was butched down, honey.
Yeah.
If you can believe it.
We can believe it.
We can believe it. Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you,
exactly.
darling. No, I know, right?
Yeah. Well, and lastly, I think that this is going to be a good thing for Khalid because he's been around for years. And the article I got this from lists from Queerty lists all the songs that he's put out over the years. And I'm going to post this on TAGSPodcast. I actually went over to his Apple Music page and downloaded his new music out. I think it's going to be a positive thing in the end for him because it's
Yeah.
going to bring some new attention to Khalid and almost hopefully, refresh his career in a positive way, which could be a great thing. So congratulations, Khalid, even though you were outed, which isn't a great thing, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think this will open doors for him in the LGBTQ plus community. I think that we support our own, and I was listening to him before, but now I'm even more inclined to listen to him.
Love it. Well, moving on, there's a new study that ranked the top cities for LGBTQ plus singles to find love. And if you don't like the way the administration is headed, you might want to head over to some of these cities. Starting at number 1, Toronto is the first hosting the most number of queer events in the cities. LA dazzles with 945 LGBTQ plus events and 10% of population. Amsterdam was next. I was just there. I could attest to that. I saw a lot of gay people there. Here's some of the things that they were looking at in the study that made top cities to find love, focusing on urban areas, no surprise there, with a strong queer presence, social opportunities, inclusive environments, and things like cost of living too, because a lot of people might look at these findings and be like, oh, well, great, but I can't really afford to live in the cities. Surprisingly, New York wasn't on the list. But just to give you the top 10, and then we'll discuss, like I said, Toronto was number 1 as 11% of LGBTQ plus residents out of a total of the entire population, 966 LGBTQ plus events, $88.74 for the cost to go on a date. And they got a 100% score. Chile, of all places, Santiago in Chile had 11%. Not a lot of events to go to, but a date would only cost you $51.46. I might move it to Chile. Buenos Aires was also 10% of the population. Not a lot of events, but $41 to go on a date. The US, LA at 10%, but a whopping $118 to go on a date. Germany was next in line. Berlin, no surprise there. Barcelona, Amsterdam, Dublin, Brussels, and also another Canadian city, Vancouver. So places you might want to consider if you're looking for love. There were some other stats that they might post. Lincoln, you're laughing, but with so many people looking for love, not always having a lot of luck, what are your thoughts on this new stats? And does it give hope for those that are single looking for love?
Well, it sounds like you're looking for cheap love. Like it sounds you're doing a survey looking for people that have no money to start to date. So, and there's only one in the US, by the way. So you still have to fly there, and you need money to get there and to live. Listen, you could find love anywhere. You could find love on the subway, at a gas station. I understand that some cities, Toronto has been told to me is a great place to do great gay pride, that it is really, really gay friendly, that people are really happy there and very positive there. That's really great. The United States is going through a lot of hard times in our major cities. And I still think people are finding love there, no matter how many gay events are there or how cheap a date can be. You know what I mean? So I'm taking it with a big grain of salt. And I hope people hear other people and just meet people and get to know who they are, no matter where they live or how much a cup of coffee is.
Truly. Yeah, you bring up good points. You can meet people anywhere. But, Kodi, we do a lot of Reddit threads where people are frustrated at finding love, that they try, that they are on the apps and they are struggling to find love. And then we talk about what's going on and how bleak it kind of looks for the new administration going to be rolling in next year. And people always joke. I mean, my mom was telling me about all the places, and there's a place in the UK that all these celebrities are moving to get out of the country because they don't want to be a part of it. What are your thoughts about this study about finding love in these top 10 cities?
But yeah, I think it's a great thing to be on the lookout for love. Like Lincoln said, you can find it anywhere, but this will help us kind of identify what places are having the events that we can go to and really do it on the cheap, apparently, because that's what's most important to people.
Well, that was mine, but yeah. I mean, it's surprising the price difference between what it goes. I mean, I go on dates, obviously in New York. I went to the movies recently and it was like expensive, but
it's just cost of living. Cost of living is different no matter what.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I work in New York and fly to Toronto for a date. That's what we'll do.
Can I say one more point about this? And I don't want to cut you off, Kodi, but
you're fine.
You mentioned the administration coming in, and we haven't talked about that since I've been on the show. The one thing I am going to say, especially given this topic, running to another country is the last thing we need to do as human beings. We need to shut up and do the inner work to realize where our life is, what's going on with us, what traumas we've been through, why we are where we are, and do a little self-help work on our own. And then we will attract the people in our life that we want in our life. Joe Biden ran on healing the soul of America, and we did not do that. No one healed their soul in the last 4 years, whether we got the tools from the administration or not. We went through a pandemic. We have PTSD from 9/11, the pandemic, all these things, the AIDS crisis, the cost of living, people dying in our lives. And instead of stopping and being an adult and doing the work that gets you out of those things, running to some posh neighborhood in London because you have the money to do it is not going to fix our country, and it's not going to make you happy as a human being. Grow up, do the work, and they will come. I promise. Yeah. Come on.
Thank you for giving your take, because we said a lot of the similar things when we did the show right after those first couple of weeks. And it's a great time to reflect on what your life looks like and what you can do. And we agree with you on that.
Yeah, I will not have my brain taken over by all of the misinformation and distractions that are on our phone and online and in polls and all that stuff. Like, we need to step up. It's time. It's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody else that's stepping up that we haven't heard from in forever is one of my favorite singers of all time, the goddess herself, Sade, who released her first song in 6 years called Young Lion. And it's going to be a part of a new compilation, Trans, that is one of those Red Hot series. If you remember back in the day, there was Red Hot and Blue, all kinds of Red Hot series that really give back the proceeds. At the time, it was to HIV. And this one features one of the songs, like I said, first song in more than 6 years. But I looked up her album. It was 2010 when Soldier of Love was the album that came out. And so it's like forever.
Was Lovers Rock after that or before?
No, it was before.
Lover,
Really?
yeah.
Okay, so her last album was the Soldier one? I thought it was Lovers Rock. I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Soldier of Love was after Lovers Rock.
Got it.
And 2010, Young Lion is one of 46 songs on Trans. It's the latest issue, like I said, compilation from Red Hot. It features contributions from Andre 3000, Sam Smith, Julian Baker. I could go on, which sounds really great. It's available to digital download, and the video really shows Sade of home movies. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch it, but it's home movies of her child, her son, and the lyrics are so special, just about acceptance and how brave her child must have been, she says, to have been dealing with throughout those years. And at the very end of it, you get to see what her son really looks like today. And I just thought it was so beautiful and so great to hear from Sade. And it wasn't making it about her as opposed to her child. Did you have a chance to see it, Kodi? And what do you think about Sade releasing new music and her support for the trans community?
I live for Sade. Her message, her voice. I'm so happy we're talking about musicians today. She is such an inspiration to me. The way that she writes music is just transformative. She is everything to me. And I'm so glad that she is out here supporting trans rights, her trans son. And that video is so beautiful. It just showed all these intimate secret moments that they shared, and it exuded with love. So I'm really happy for Sade. I'm glad she's coming out with new music because she sounds amazing on the track. So yeah, I can't wait.
I feel like we've never really seen behind the scenes at all of her life. And in this one video, we just got a ton of it. So it was well worth the wait. Lincoln, I don't know if you had a chance to see the video. But what did you think?
I did my homework. I can do my homework.
I love it. Thank you.
I know I can. I personally love Sade. I have taught my stretch classes to her for years. It's been way too long since she's come out with new music. I wasn't stunned by the song. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was like earth-shattering. The one thing I thought was very funny was she didn't sound as much like her to me as I remember. And Peter came into the kitchen and was like, "Who's that guy singing?" And I went, "It's Sade." And then I closed my eyes and she kind of sounded a little more like Terrence Trent D'Arby than she did Sade. And I'm wondering if that was on purpose because of the subject matter of the song. Like instead of just being her natural feminine voice, that she just dropped it down a little to balance out the song, which could totally be made up. But listen to it again with your eyes closed, and it's almost like a slowed down, deeper Sade.
Well, it's interesting you say that because there's a reference about the sun, and she's talking about you look and something referencing about the sun, the actual SUN, but at the same time it could be SON, her son, and she might be playing with a few different things in there too, and which is kind of clever, I think. So good,
It made the song more interesting, thinking of it on purpose, done that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I like that. So look out for that. There's a whole movement that I didn't know about. Jimmy Somerville. We all love Jimmy Somerville.
I love Jimmy Somerville.
Yeah, he was blasting an anti-trans. I did not know about this group, but I read more. LGB, notice I left out the T, Alliance. And it's a whole organization. Have you guys heard of the LGB Alliance, which really
No.
wants to separate the T and queer from LGBTQ plus, because they
Yeah,
say
I've heard of
they
that.
really has nothing to do with the fight, the plight that lesbians and gays and bisexuals have gone through. And I find it so divisive and unnecessary. So does Jimmy Somerville, apparently, because LGB Alliance was actually using his amazing song, Small Town Boy from Bronski Beat. Oh, loved that era, loved Bronski Beat. And I love Jimmy. And he just said, please, please do not use my song. The song came out in 1984, and it has come to my attention, he says, that the LGB Alliance is using Small Town Boy in a film called Generation Gay. LGB Alliance is anti-trans, and I would never allow any of mine to be used by such a group. We will do everything we can to, well, since then, good news is due to copyright issues, because you can't just use music like that, especially in a
Yep.
film, they've dropped it. Not necessarily because of what Jimmy has said he doesn't want, but because of copyright issues, which thank goodness. But I don't know. It's crazy. I started to then go on a deep dive of looking up this LGB Alliance that's has a movement going for it. I mean, when you said before you love Jimmy Somerville, Lincoln, and what do you think about? We saw a lot of that during the election of people just using people's music, Trump using random music that people didn't like. What do you think about him standing up for it? And then what do you think about LGB Alliance?
So there's a couple things, and I don't think we're all going to agree on this, which is why we do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Using someone's music on a platform, being the artist that supplies the music, absolutely. You should not be able to do that. If Celine Dion does not want Trump to use her song, he shouldn't use it, right?
Right.
Because there's no way. And trans rights are extremely important, and I am 100% behind them like no tomorrow. I do think that there is a lot, because we've gone into an LGBT. People even make jokes about how many letters there are now under this umbrella. And I do think it has softened certain voices that shouldn't be softened. I do think that there are issues going on with gay men that is a voice. And by diluting it with lesbians, I remember back in the day when it was like, wait, there's gay men and there's lesbians, and we all have very different issues. At that time, it was the AIDS crisis, because the lesbians were not dealing with that crisis like the gay men were. So while I like the umbrella of us all being together to a degree, it has really killed the concept of love and let love. We have put so many labels on so many things that I feel like it is the reason we lost the election. We're swirling in this weird amalgamation of all of us, instead of really breaking down what is going on with trans rights. Where are we with that? Have that be its standing on its 2 feet, because I don't necessarily think gay men are dealing with those same issues. Lesbians with child rights are not dealing with those same issues. So I do think it can be separated and shouldn't all be lumped together. I think it's making us have less of an impact.
It's interesting.
Without any disregard to people's struggle, putting
Right.
it all, it's like women,
Yeah.
right? Like women as a all white women voted for Trump. Did
Yeah.
they just abandon everyone else? They put it under this women, right, umbrella. And I think it's a very hard double-edged sword to walk that is
Yeah.
not easy and takes a lot of explanation and consideration, because people talk to me about trans rights and I am not the right person to do so.
Yeah.
I don't have that platform. Talk to me about gay men rights.
Yeah.
I'm more qualified and more educated in the topic.
Yeah, I'm for the inclusivity of it all, and I think at this point I embrace it all. And we've grown over the years, and we were talking about the early '90s before, and how we've evolved to incorporate. I know it's about gender when you're talking about transgender, but I also think it's about sexuality too, and LGB is about sexuality as well. And then I would say on this show we talk about LGBTQ topics in general. And we've incorporated that over the years. We were a gay sex podcast at the get-go, and we've grown to incorporate LGBTQ issues. However, we still maintain a very gay focus, particularly when it comes to our gay dating and sex advice or gay health. We really are focused on that. And I don't want to give that up because I am a gay man, the two of you are, and I think our audience primarily is gay men, but we branched out to incorporate. And I think that's healthy. Kodi, when you hear this and what Jimmy Somerville's denouncing with the LGB, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, I definitely agree with Jimmy Somerville. I think that we are in this all together, no matter if we are gay men or transgender, whomever. I think that we are out of the norm of what people think of when they think of sexuality and they think of a nuclear family and things of that nature. So I think that for us to be outside of that realm means that we should band together, because there's power in making sure that you have allies out there. So I definitely hear what you're saying, Lincoln, about not wanting voices to be diluted. And I get it. I definitely understand that by us being together, then certain voices get raised and certain voices get lessened a little bit. But I do think that gay men's voices have not stopped in this day and age. And I think that as far as LGBTQ voices trans voices are considered, I think that they need to be elevated. And I think we're doing the right thing by elevating them. That's where I'm going to end that.
I like that.
I don't disagree with Lincoln, though. I hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I think that he made some valid points.
Yeah.
But I do think that we are stronger as a unit than if we were divided like the way that they want to divide us. I think that it's much better to have us all included under the same umbrella.
I like it. Okay. Let's move on to something a little bit lighter. And, I wanted to shout out to Colman Domingo, who was on The View today. He's everywhere right now. He was on the cover of Variety. He is Academy Award winner. He is in a new series on Netflix that looks amazing called The Madness. A new movie that he's getting Oscar buzz called Sing Sing, which looks really incredible. He's going to play Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson's father, in an upcoming film. And when asked, how do you feel that so many people in the audience and people with your fashion think of you as a heartthrob? And he said, it's amazing to be a heartthrob at 55. And I just think he's just come into his own. So I wanted to shout out to Colman Domingo. Also, I used to dance alongside Colman at the Box in San Francisco. I've said this before, loved Colman. Yeah. And then a few years ago, went backstage with my mom, and we all got to, he brought us backstage at the Scarsborough Boys in London on the West End. And he could not have been more gracious, and then took us to our first panto the next day, which is a British Christmas show, Mother Goose. And I would have never known about a panto if he had not took us to it the next day. And so love Colman, loved him forever. We used to interview him for all his stuff. I have a follow-up, but do you guys want to say anything about Colman? And then I'm going to relate it to another story and we can talk. Any thoughts on Colman? Do you guys love him?
Yeah, he's hot. He's a personal friend of mine, and I like him a lot.
Oh, I love that. Well, speaking
he's married. I was going to say make the introduction, honey, but he's married. So.
You know what I will tell you? When I was single about 15 years ago, he was like, hey, I have this guy for you. Hey, how about this guy? He's a very gracious and adult person. And
is he a matchmaker?
He was just because we know each other. That was so long ago. That was before a lot of this. I remember going to see him perform live in San Francisco back in the same days as the Box. Yeah. So I'm sure we crossed paths, you and I, Steve, back then.
Page Hodel.
He's great. Yep.
Page Hodel, the Box. Yeah. Well, it also got me thinking because there's all kinds of shows out coming to Broadway. Make your way to New York, people, because one of the shows that I really want to see next is Death Becomes Her, which is about eternal youth. You guys all remember the movie. Looks really good with Megan Hilty as one of the leads, and it's getting a lot of, but it's about eternal youth. There's a new movie we were talking about last week about The Substance with Demi Moore, which you take this pill and it can make you a better, younger version of yourself. We are obviously in this community obsessed with youth. I myself am 53 and doing everything I can to remain young and youthful, but own my age. Lincoln, when you hear about like media that is really a nod to our obsession with youth, but then you hear somebody like Colman embracing being 55 and being, still a heartthrob. What do you think? What do you say?
Well, I think, Coleman is a beautiful man at 55 with a lot of great opportunities in front of him. Yeah. And just out of he was in The Color Purple, the movie, the musical. I mean, it's really easy to say that when everything's going great.
Yeah.
Right? Like when things aren't going so great, as you will see in Death Becomes Her when you see the musical, it gets down and out and you take drastic measures to try and roll back some years so that you have more opportunities for the world to be great again, right?
Same with The Substance too.
Yeah, right? I haven't seen The Substance yet. I really want to see that. So I think we're all on our own journey, and people always want to be young, healthy, not invisible, because a lot of the reason that people want to stay young is they want to be relevant. They want to be visible. They don't want to be ignored in line. You know what I mean? Or walked over because they're just an old lady or an old man. So I get it. I think I think the same obsession was happening in the 80s and the 90s. And now that we are going into this new era of uncertainty, as we develop our own boundaries as people, the one thing we could do is, hey, you know what? I'm going to lose 20 pounds. You know what? I'm going to dye my hair or cut my hair, or I'm going to go do some procedure that's going to make me feel younger, because the world might be crazy, but I can take care of myself.
Yeah, I'm on that path for sure. It's interesting you said 80s and 90s, because The Substance, and this isn't giving it away, is set. I was asking my sister, I'm like, is this set in the 80s or 90s? Because it's all aerobics and there's cars in the background that are older at times, but no, it's actually set in today. And I think there's a nod to 80s obsession with looks and everything, as well as today. And it was very taking license to kind of mix those two eras. And so that's interesting that you said that. Kodi, what are your thoughts on just what Colman's saying, but then some of the features that we're seeing out there? Death Becomes Her, The Substance, that is really talking about we want to be relevant, like what Lincoln's saying.
Oh, definitely. I think that Colman Domingo is, first of all, and we are, as all of us are as well, he's very blessed as far as not looking his age, whatever that means. But I think that, our culture is obsessed with age, and it's something that we have to deal with. They're obsessed with a lot of things. So it's something that we have to deal with, and we have to learn how to navigate, and everybody's going to do it in their own different way. But as long as you are staying true to yourself and not necessarily doing things that you wouldn't do if you didn't have that pressure on you from society, then I think we can all just head forward, trot along, and make the best of it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's move on. When recently the internet was rallying around a gay man who said he kept getting ditched by his friends for things like Sniffy's hookups. When we all go out, when you go out with your friends, especially when you're single, there's that notion before friends before, what is the notion? Friends
before hoes.
Bros before
hoes.
Hoes. The person writing this and said,
"I'm not single."
Sorry, right? This actually, it was funny because they said, I've made plans with friends only for gays to end up getting, only for my plans to get canceled because they're going to hook up with someone. This also happens quite a bit when we go out together, and they're much more interested in finding a new guy to talk to or go home with rather than hang out together. People said really were aligning with him that that's not right. Bros before hoes. But some said, I mean, I've dealt with this in the past where I've gone out when I was single and a friend of mine would hang out together most of the night, but towards the end of the night, I might meet somebody. And for me, my one friend would get mad at our other friend who immediately would meet somebody. And I don't think that's cool. When you go out together, you should really hang out together. But my friend once got mad at me and I said, I only hook up like later on in the night after we've already spent plenty of hours together. And I feel like that's one of the reasons we go out. We should be happy for our friends when somebody does meet somebody, whether it's a hookup or a actual potential dating situation. And isn't that one of the reasons we go out? But I do agree. Don't just drop your friends immediately. Lincoln, what are your thoughts about bros before hoes and what, this conundrum that this guy's under?
Well, I could say something witty like get new friends, but that doesn't really solve the problem. I think, doing the work inwardly, you might consider your friends a little bit more, or at least communicate with them. Hey, there's someone really cool over there. I really want to go talk to them. I'll be back in 5 minutes. You go back, you come back in 20 minutes and go, I know I took longer. Let's go have a drink because I'm going to end up going home with him later and I want more time with you. So I think it's about being an adult in the situation. If you're making plans with friends and they're flaking on you for a random anonymous hookup,
Maybe
is that the friend you
back to
want
your
to make
original
those kind of
comment,
plans with? Maybe that's the answer. Is that, or to do it and you would expect it from that person because that's their personality, and you can't blame the person for living their personality in the way they live life. You know what I mean? I will say a small story. When I was single, I would go to the Eagle a lot more than I do now. And like one of my friends said to me, when I go with you to the Eagle, it's like going to Disneyland with Mickey. Yeah. Like you say hi to so many people and I introduce people to people. Well, some people found that discouraging to hang out with me, and they felt like they weren't being, at the end of the night, they're like, wow, he knows everyone. I know no one. I'm going to go home. I'm a little sad. Yeah. And I can't control that. That's on them. They need, and maybe we're not a match. Maybe some people like to be with people that aren't so dynamic, Yeah. So again, I still say do the work and look at your friendship. But I do understand, it's a Sex in the City moment. It's 4 guys going out. We spent a half an hour together. See you next Tuesday, right? Or see you tomorrow.
See you next Tuesday. Yeah, I'm a big fan of pre-gaming, Kodi, too, as well. And I know, like, recently I saw you, Lincoln, at the Honey Dijon mega concert, practically.
So much fun.
So much fun. Time. Yeah, and I ran into Lincoln and Pizza, which was so awesome. But I got together with some friends, and we had such a great conversation. We were together for like 2 hours at someone's house, and we knew we were going to be immersed in Honey Dijon and probably not going to be like talking to each other. And I say pre-game is one of my things you can do, which helps.
Kodi, I know you want to talk. I'm sorry. I just want to say what's funny about this moment is that when we flew by you, because we were doing like a tour, and I did think the next day, I'm like, oh, I hope Steve didn't feel bad. It's the first time I'm really meeting his new boyfriend. I wasn't really in the mindset to talk. We were in party mode, and okay. But in my mind, I did, because I'm that kind of friend.
Yeah,
I'm the kind of friend that doesn't go somewhere, see someone, and then be like, "Sorry, we're gonna go hook up," and like, come on.
No, I didn't think that at all. But that's good. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Kodi, what are your thoughts about bros before hoes and what this guy's lamenting about?
Yeah, I used to be the type of person that would, when I went out with somebody, I would always go home with them. I was that guy until...
Surprise.
I was like, all my friends, I'm here for my friends. But now I'm of the mindset that, you go to a bar, you hang out with your friends for a substantial amount of time, and then whatever happens, happens. It's free reign after that, because yes, they're your friends, but you put in your time. Just like you, Steve, were saying before, you put in your time and your friend would still get mad at the end of the night, but you spent all this time together. Is that not qualifying to special time between friends. That's not the word I wanted to use, but it came out. Quality time is what I wanted to say. What do you have to say, Lincoln?
I also think it depends on what the hell you're doing. Like if you're meeting with friends and you're going to a show, well, obviously you're going to watch a show and not talk, right?
Yeah.
If you're meeting friends and going to the Eagle or to Hell's Kitchen to go bar hopping, sure, you want to stay together. Grab someone's number and say, I'm with my friends, but in 2 hours, text me. Again, I think it's just being more conscious than just flaking or that being the priority.
And I definitely agree with you, Lincoln, that if this person has an issue with that, he should bring it up to his friend. And if they don't address the issue, then that means that they're not a match, basically. Right. So, yeah.
And that's okay.
And that is okay because everybody should be who they are at the end of the day.
I agree. Let's get this topic in because I want to get a couple stuff in. There was a guy on TikTok that said we're misusing the term masculine. What did he mean by that? He says, here's a tough pill to swallow. The gays that say they're into masculine guys don't actually mean that. Josh Morris is the TikToker, and he says, you can clock me by the way that I breathe, but there are traits about me that are by definition masculine. He clarified that some of his masculine traits include having a beard and a dick. 9 times out of 10, what these people mean is that they're looking for straight passing guys. And I think people are reluctant to say that because you can hear the internalized homophobia a little bit louder when you use that term. But that's really what they're talking about. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's entitled to their preferences, he says. But let's just say what we mean. And on the same note, there was somebody in a different article saying, I'm constantly trying to butch it up on dates so I don't come across as too gay. Is that bad? Do we have a lot of internalized homophobia, Kodi?
Yeah, so we've already determined that I am the masked one here. I think we said that earlier. But we said earlier that I was butched down before, and we said that we could believe it. So I am officially the masked one on the show.
Okay.
But
you wear that tiara well, honey.
Okay. We're just gonna let that go and let that
slide. And I need to get to my point. Yeah, I think that this society raised us to have internalized homophobia, definitely. I think that everywhere we look, we get inundated with negative aspects of how it should be to be a gay person. So I think that we have to all do the work to deprogram ourselves from society because it is pervasive, honestly.
Good thoughts, yeah. Lincoln, does this TikToker have a point that it's really internalized homophobia and when they're saying, I want masculine?
So this is the great thing. This is my theme tonight. If you wake up every morning and you do a 5-minute meditation to put your brain on straight, it kind of evaporates some of that quote unquote internalized homophobia. Just do the work. Yeah. Stop blaming society or other people or what you think, they think that you think that they think that you should be or wear.
Yeah.
It's not having a dick does not make you masculine. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Putting on a beard does not make you masculine. It's just being a person that is wearing a beard. It doesn't make you masculine or feminine. And if you're that hyped about it, again, look in the mirror. We have a lot of things being said in the world. You either listen to them or you do the work to understand how to work with it, right?
Yeah.
But people don't want to do that work, and it's unfortunate.
But then shut up. Because no, seriously, I know we all have the right freedom of speech, but it's just like you can't say fire in a crowded theater. All of this kvetching about all the problems and we don't want to do the work and we just want to complain is part of the reason we got the new president that's coming in. Because a bunch of people complaining and not doing the work to figure out how to actually solve the problem is only going to get overridden by all the static. Because what I mean by that is it creates a lot of complaining static. Yeah. You know what I mean? That you can't see the solution.
I will echo what you said earlier in the show when you were saying you hadn't come on since the election, Lincoln, and some of the things that we had said you didn't get to hear. But I do agree. We tend to do the work, hopefully most of us, in times when things aren't going our way. It's, in other words, we were hoping that a lot would have happened in 4 years and that we would have kept moving in the direction of, say, a Kamala ticket. But here we are, right? And I think it's good to reflect when things aren't going your way and to start doing your personal work. It's a wake-up call, I think, in a lot of ways, to first start with yourself and what can you do to better yourself. And then from there, hopefully we'll change and combat what's going on in the administration to come.
I agree with you, but I do think that we don't have the understanding that the work never stops.
Yeah.
It's just like
Right.
it
It
was
should
said,
always be going on. Yeah.
you
but-
can't love your country only when you win.
Right.
You can't do the work only when your hair is on fire and your pants are down and you're running through the street going, maybe I should do the work.
Yeah.
No, it happens just like you brush your teeth in the morning, just like you comb your hair. You need to mentally adjust yourself to do the work, to be that present person, right?
Yeah. Right.
So what do we say to the people who they want to complain, but they can't even recognize that they have internalized homophobia, quote unquote, or whatever it is that is going on behind the scenes? What do we say to the people who don't even want to take stock of who they are and what's going on with them?
Well, I don't have anything to say to them because they're not taking stock for themselves. I would say go to therapy. And then you're going to say, but they don't want to go to therapy. Okay, well then get off my bus. Yeah. Because I can't fix you. I can't do the work for you. You can't do the work for me. And I certainly cannot do the work for our entire community, right? Because that's impossible. You can only do the work for yourself. So if someone's going to sit and complain and complain and complain and everything is horseshit and misery, you attract what you dwell on.
Here in America, it's Thanksgiving, and I would love to go round robin it and say what we're thankful for this year, starting with you, Kodi. What are you thankful for on this week of Thanksgiving? What can you share with our audience?
Well, I'm thankful for the mac and cheese that's in the oven right now.
Okay. You're not even going to wait for Thanksgiving. You're going to have it now.
It's Thanksgiving week. I'm coming over.
Okay.
Exactly. Come on over. I'm thankful that I have such wonderful, wonderful family and friends. They've supported me through a difficult time in my life. And I am thankful for, being amazing and talented and beautiful. So thank you for all of that. And what about you guys? What are you thankful for?
Lincoln?
Oh, I'm next. As I've talked about on this podcast a little bit, and we know I have had a real hard couple years.
Yeah.
And I am very thankful for my partner who is still by my side. Try not to cry. I'm very thankful for all. Damn it.
We're here.
Of all my memories of salty pretzel and all my memories of my mom. It's 4 years since my mom died. It was November 15th was her death date. And there's been a lot of lawyers and contracts and people that, when a parent dies, it's very hard. It's very challenging. She had, my mother was the best woman in the world. And I really hit the jackpot when it comes to being raised with a spiritual center and financial responsibility. And when you have those gifts, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. And some of it takes time. Some of it takes conversations. It's messy. And 4 years later, there are a lot of things that are done. And I don't have to continually jab at it. So I'm really thankful for now that all the positive love and memories from both my last dog and my mom, and even Alphaba, my dog before that, are kind of filling the space, because that's what this holiday, Thanksgiving, New Year's, and Christmas are all about for me and Peter.
Oh, that's nice.
That's lovely.
That. Yeah. Shout out to Gloria.
Doing the work, trying to do the work.
And I'm thankful this week for being with my mother and my sister, my small family, but we are a unit, the threesome, and our health. And I'm also thankful for my boyfriend, who I'm just so happy with today. He sent me a song that was in Spanish, Tu de que vas, what are you up to? And these are some of the lyrics in English. He says, what are you up to? If they gave me the choice again, I would choose you without thinking. There's nothing to think about, that there's neither a reason nor a cause to doubt, if for a second, because you have been the best that touched this heart, and between heaven and you, I choose you. and it goes on, but that's the song that I had to immediately interpret today. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so
sweet.
The thing I needed to this week on Thanksgiving, and I'm so grateful for him. And on FaceTime, he met my mom today, which was really sweet.
Aww, that's big.
He didn't know it, but I took the phone over to him, and yeah, it was great. So that was really sweet. So I'm very thankful for that. And we wish everyone in America here and everywhere, if you're celebrating, happy Thanksgiving. We are thankful for you for listening to this program and for continuing to support us. And you can always follow my co-hosts. You can doing any Black Friday deals over at the Protein Bakery?
We are. So you can follow the Protein Bakery on Instagram at Protein Bakery. We also have a TikTok account now that's taking off, and I don't know the name of it, but we'll put it up on something so you all get that. And there's a Black Friday sale that's going all the way from now through at proteinbakery.com. So you don't need a code. You don't need a special handshake. Everyone's welcome from every walk of life to order a cookie and add a little balance to their dessert in their life with my product.
Love it. Also follow him at Mad Lincoln on Instagram as well.
Oh, and the pumpkins are in for a limited time. So grab the pumpkins online. They're also on sale. Really good. Yay.
Follow Kodi at Mr. Maurice on Instagram or his Blue Sky account at Mr. Maurice as well. And you've got an Indiegogo account, right, Kodi?
Not anymore.
No. Okay, not anymore. Got it. So we're awaiting. Follow him on all those. But your Blue Sky's looking really great, and keep
Thank you.
Up. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. And go to @TAGSPodcast where you get a preview of my OnlyFans or Just for Fans. And right now, there's deals. My Black Friday deals over there. 40% off on my OnlyFans and my OnlyFans. Use Sexy Poppy promo code Sexy Poppy, and it's only $5. So take advantage of that. And that's going on for the whole week. So take advantage of that. Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you both. I'm thankful for you two as well. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay
sex.
We're off this Wednesday, but back next week with all new shows. Talk to you soon.
Bye.